Hello there, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm so appreciative when you spend a little of your time to be with me. And today I want to talk to you or with you about the thorny issue of being a parent. What's it mean to be a good parent? And I do so with a confession that I am and have been a far from perfect parent. And with that in mind, I've taken advice from our three children, two of whom are our parents themselves, one of whom is a teacher of children, and also from my four sisters. So it's a bit of a distilled wisdom that I want to share with you this morning. And even if you're not a parent yourself, or your children have left home, I still think that a lot of these principles are applicable in many different relationships. So I want to take the word parenting and use that as an acrostic, and from each of those letters tease out a principle that I think is important in the whole world of parenting. And P stands for prayer. When our children were young, I used to go into their bedroom at night before I went to bed and look at them, and there they were, just fast asleep, looking at like little angels. And I used to pray over them and pray for God's blessing upon them, God's protection, that God would continue to work in their lives through his Spirit and lead them in his way. And I think we can never stop praying for our children, our family. I pray for my family every night before I go to sleep. It's such an important aspect of bringing up our children, praying for them, and teach them that prayer is important. Encourage them to pray. I remember that when my brother Phil was very ill, our granddaughter Beth used to pray for him, and maybe the others did too. But teach your children that prayer makes a difference. Prayer is important, but pray for them. Never stop praying for them. The letter A stands for attention. You need to give your children your full attention. It's sometimes difficulty when there are other things pressing on our time. My sister Mary sent me a great quote, which I think is really, really important, and it's this: listen earnestly to anything your children want to tell you, no matter what. If you don't listen eagerly to the little stuff when they are little, they won't tell you the big stuff when they're big, because to them, all of it has always been big stuff. Wow. And Steph, our daughter, says, give value to their voice, even if it seems like nonsense, even if they're whingy. Listen to them, because by listening to our children or to anyone, we're giving them value. We're giving them we're saying to them, you're important, you're precious to me. And I guess kind of under this heading comes, treat them, your children, as individuals. If you've got more than one, don't be comparing them all the time. My brother Phil got on one of his school reports, could do with a little of his brother's neatness. Well, of course, that was true, actually, but it wasn't a good thing to write, was it? So don't compare. Give them your attention. R stands for reality. Being real with yourself. Accept that you're not perfect. You will get things wrong sometimes. You'll mess up. Steph says, own up and apologize when you mess up. Be big enough to say sorry to your kids when you've got something wrong. And I want to take this opportunity to say to my three children, Kaz, Steph and Chris, I'm sorry. When many times I got things wrong, when I didn't give you what you needed at that time. So I'm sorry. I do apologize to you. E stands for example. The scary thing is our kids learn from us. They learn from how we treat other people. They learn from our attitudes and behaviors. They learn from the words we use and how we treat them. Someone once said the best thing a mum can do for her children is to love their father. And the best thing a dad can do for his children is to love their mum. So our children learn from us, our behaviours, our attitudes. They follow our examples more than they follow our words. In fact, the two should really tie up, shouldn't they? And I guess that another E word could be encourage. It's so important that we encourage our children, isn't it? Yes, sometimes we need to be positively critical of them, but let encouragement be often on our lips for our children. Build them up, don't pull them down. N stands for nurture. Just like those of you who are gardeners will have been getting your little seedlings ready, potting them out, providing them with the right environment that they need to grow and flourish, the right soil, the right water when it's needed, the nourishment, the right light and warmth, etc., so that that plant can grow and flourish and become fruitful as a mature plant. And I guess it's similar in some ways with our children. We need to nurture them, give them that right environment. And a key part of that is the love that we show them. Steph says, tell them often you love them and show it to them even more. Do we tell our children, do we love them, that we love them? Do we show it to them, demonstrate it to them? Love unconditionally. May our love not be dependent on their good behaviour. And give them cuddles, give them hugs. I remember speaking to a young lady some years ago who was in her mid-20s, a member of our church, and she said, you know, in my whole life, my dad has never once hugged me. That was sad, wasn't it? Set boundaries and limits and be consistent in how you apply them. My sister Jenny says, when they're ready to leave the nest, let them fly, but always be there if they need you. Yeah, there is a time when our children will leave our family home and go off and begin to live their own lives independently, but they're never fully independent. So we always need to be there for them. We never stop being parents. Now, T, what do you think T stands for? Some years ago, I had a family service and there were a group of Girls' Brigade children there. And I asked the girls, spend a little time talking among yourselves and tell me what is the best way your parents can show love to you. And you know what they said? It wasn't toys or big present, but it was time. When our parents spend time with us, they said, that's how they show us that they love us. Many of us live busy lives, don't we? And there's so many pressures on us and so many demands, but we need to spend time, quality time with our children. And maybe this lockdown period, for families, though it could be quite stressful, it's also a gift for many to be able to spend time with parents, children together. Let's use that productively, let's value that, but give our children our time. By doing that, we're showing love to them. I stands for intentionality. Steph says, intentionally look for and treasure the little moments. And I was reminded of that when I came across a picture yesterday of our two girls when they were very young. There they are. Don't they look beautiful? Steph and Kaz. That must have been taken before Chris was born, or at least went before he could sit up with them. And part of me wishes that I could go back to those days just for a moment to spend time with them, because I don't think I always treasured the moments, especially when they were falling out. But treasure every moment that you have with your children. And under the heading of intentionality, intentionally seek to learn from and take advice from other parents whose kids have turned out well. So we can learn from others. Don't be too proud to ask for help and advice. And consistently apply those values and principles that are fundamental to your family life. N is it's a word that I don't really like using, but it's nice. Are you nice parents? One of the other things that the Girls' Brigade came back with was kindness. When our parents show kindness to us, they're loving us. And I guess that nice could link in with kindness. Are we being kind to our children? And then finally, the letter G is about grace. Just as you're not perfect, so your children will never be perfect. And don't beat yourself up when you think about these principles and say, I'm not a very good parent, I've messed up, I've got things wrong. Remember that even the perfect parent, God himself, though he offers every perfect nurture and love, etc., that children need, can't guarantee that his children won't go off the rails. So wherever you are in your parenting life, or even if you're not a parent, I hope these principles have been of some help to you. And perhaps there are parents you know who need your help and support. But remember that we never stop loving our kids, even when they frustrate us greatly. So God bless those of you who are parents, and God bless you all today. I pray that you have a great day. Thank you so much for listening.